Governor Wes Moore speaks out following a mass shooting in Annapolis. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. The FBI is investigating a mass shooting in Annapolis that left 3 people dead and 3 others hurt. This is the scene today as the FBI continues to work alongside Anne Arundel police to collect evidence from the Sunday shooting. The incident happened here at the 1000 block of Paddington Place. Police say first responders arrived Sunday night and found 3 people dead. Those victims include Nicolas Morales, Mario Morales Ruiz, and Christian Segovia. The other victims remained hospitalized in stable condition. Governor Wes Moore spoke out today against the nation's dilemma of mass shootings.
And for all Marylanders, I know that many people might be feeling numb right now. Numb to the violence that we see in our streets and across the country. Numb to the news stories about more lives being cut short. But we cannot allow that numbness to take hold. We will refuse to be apathetic in the face of horror. We refuse to say that these problems are too big or too tough to solve, that this is a difficult moment for the city of Annapolis and for the state of Maryland.
Officials say the suspect, Charles Smith, who lives in the community, faces murder, assault, and attempted murder charges. Well, leaders from across the state gather in Annapolis to kick off Protect Week 2023. This week, AARP Maryland, along with state and federal partners, will educate the public on the abuse and financial exploitation of seniors. Protect Week comes as Maryland recognizes World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, which is set for Thursday, June 15th. Maryland's new Secretary of Aging, Carmel Roques, read off a proclamation recognizing World Elder Abuse Awareness Day in the state. With scammers becoming more sophisticated, officials say seniors should not be afraid to report fraudulent schemes.
The way I look at it is we need to engage older people on the front line in being able to prevent abuse, neglect, financial exploitation. And what I love about Protect Week is it's all about educating people and saying this is what you can do to protect yourself and the people that you love.
And if you think you've been victimized by a fraud, or even if you think somebody tried to commit a fraud but it didn't work, report it. You know, put the criminals on the spot. Don't keep it to yourself.
If you suspect that someone is being abused, neglected, or exploited, you're urged to contact authorities. Well, police are on the lookout for suspects involved in a smash and grab robbery at a 7-Eleven store in Landover. The incident happened about 2:30 this morning in the 7200 block of Sheriff Road. This was the scene later this morning as contractors tried to repair the extensive amount of damage done to the store. Authorities say the store was closed at the time, but suspects made off with the ATM machine. The building has been condemned, so police cannot yet access surveillance video from inside the store. Well, managing stormwater runoff was the lesson of the day for some county students. The participants are students at College Park Academy. They planted a variety of species that are all native to Prince George's. This small tract of land is just yards away from the recently refurbished Gosling Pond, which is just off the 5700 block of River Tech Court in Riverdale Park. The work the students are doing today will help absorb stormwater runoff.
So it slows down the water that's coming from this area to the pond by creating an area where water can soak in through the roots. And it's also drawing wildlife to the pond by the fact that these are all native plants and they are all pollinator attractors. So it's really making the pond more of an ecosystem instead of just a hole in the ground to put water in.
And 58 schools across the county are taking part in stormwater management projects in conjunction with the Clean Water Partnership. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up, a conversation with Prince George's Poet Laureate, Dr. Khadijah Ali Coleman. Stay with us.
The lady on the phone was saying that she was my granddaughter. She needs help, and she hasn't got the money, and they're going to take her to jail.
We went to the bank, got the money, and then the girl came over, picked it up, and then she took off.
anyone is vulnerable to this. They're very good.
Welcome back. Well, Prince George's County has the highest recycling rate in the state, with more than 1 million tons processed in 2021. But other jurisdictions have much lower rates of waste diversion. That's why Senator Malcolm Augustine sponsored legislation to create a statewide recycling needs and producer assessment. The measure, which was signed into law last month, calls for a report and analysis of waste and recycling efforts.
We are very fortunate to have in our county, Prince George's County, recycling that's done in a single pass where everything goes into the blue bins and it gets recycled in a pretty high and efficient way. That is not the case across the state. Waste disposal costs the state a lot of money. It really does. It costs the state a whole lot of money. And so what we're trying to do is get away from that. The way that we're going to get away from that is through pieces of legislation like this producer responsibility legislation. Because what it's going to say is, let's make sure that when we have these things that end up in our waste stream, that they're easier to recycle. Let's also take the money that it costs us right now for that and try to redirect that into efforts to help to reduce the amount of things that are going into our landfills.
And the law also creates an advisory council to make recommendations on how producers of packaging can be held more accountable. Well, the National Institutes of Health brings its mobile health tour to Prince George's County. It's called All of Us. The Institute's mobile facility was at the Sports and Learning Center in Landover today. The All of Us research program seeks 1 million people across the country to help build a diverse health database.
We gather different information, things like your name, where you live. We may also ask for you to provide a little bit of blood sample, urine sample, and things of that nature. There are a lot of communities that are underrepresented in biomedical studies and health research. And what we're doing is we're trying to go to them and say, hey, you know, right now, our database is not diverse. Our researchers don't have enough information. You know, how can we live better lives and have a healthier lifestyle if researchers don't know how to keep us healthier for a longer period of time?
And the All of Us Lab will be at the Sports and Learning Complex again tomorrow. It will then be going to the Southern Regional Rec Center on Wednesday, starting at 9 a.m. and Thursday, beginning at 12 noon. For more information, you can go to the website on your screen. And in other news tonight, police have identified the victim of a fatal crash in District Heights. Christopher Watson was killed late Saturday night after his motorcycle crashed into a car as he attempted to make a U-turn. The 33-year-old district man was subsequently hit by a second vehicle. The incident occurred near Forestville Road and Marlboro Pike. And a Bowie man dies in a car collision in Lothian. 23-year-old Andrew Stewart was traveling northbound on Route 4 near Talbot Road late Saturday night. Stewart was changing lanes when the rear of his vehicle collided with a Chevrolet sedan. He then lost control and crashed into a tree. He was rushed to a nearby trauma center where he was later pronounced dead. The driver of the Chevrolet was uninjured. And authorities are investigating a fatal shooting in Langley Park. It happened early Saturday morning, and tonight police have identified the victim as 22-year-old Aristides Flores Rosales of Langley Park. The shooting occurred in the 8100 block of 14th Avenue. Police are offering a reward of up to $25,000 for information in this case. A nationally recognized speaker, community organizer, author, and playwright, and now the new 2023 Prince George's Poet Laureate visits CTV. Dr. Khadija Ali Coleman started her term back in May and will hold the position for the next 3 years. She spoke with us about her plans for tenure.
I think the first year will really be continuing the wonderful things that have been working, and then the second and third year beginning to bring in new things that are my stamp, are the things that are really unique. And I really am interested in having events that cater to older writers and creatives, particularly women who maybe have been bound by work and raising the kids and a lot of things that have really put their own writerly life or creative life on hold, and having opportunities for them to be able to engage with their artistic life.
And to find out more about Dr. Ali Coleman, you can visit the website on your screen. And coming up, we have Simon Buggs with our Monday Sports Page report.
What's going on, everybody? And coming up in sports, Commanders linebacker Khalid Hudson speaks on what he wants to improve on going into next year, as well as the outcomes of the Nationals, Orioles, and Mystics games that were all played yesterday. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, a former Prince George's police lieutenant is awarded more than $1 million after she was arrested for talking on her cell phone. A state trooper pulled over Lieutenant Alita Gaskill near National Harbor in May 2019 for being on her phone. But the hands-free cell phone law for mail-in drivers does not apply to law enforcement. She was in her unmarked cruiser at the time, got out to explain the situation, but says Trooper Sharif Lewis was irate, screaming at her. He then cuffed and arrested her. Gaskill filed a civil suit and was just awarded $1.1 million.
Okay, everybody, it's time for your Monday Sports Page. We'll start with the NFL. Entering his fourth year in the NFL, Khalid Hudson is looking to expand his game with the Commanders in 2023. The linebacker from Michigan spoke with CTV Sports as the Commanders wrapped minicamp last week, and the veteran says he aims to be more vocal this season.
Just being a leader overall. We lost one of our leaders last year, Cole, who's a very good friend of mine, and I still talk to him today. So just stepping up to that role, want to be the guy everybody can come to for help about how to do a technique better, how to see information, and get a couple ideas about what plays they can do out of information. So just being that guy for my teammates is really the main thing I've been working on.
Now to the world of baseball, the Nationals faced off against the Atlanta Braves yesterday, and they will come out on top 6-2. The Nationals start the game off slow, being down 2-1 after 5 innings, but Washington's offense caught fire in the 6th inning, scoring 5 runs. A highlight from the game came from third baseman Heimer Candelario, who hit a 2-run homer to give the Nats the lead. With this win, the Nats avoided what would have been a 7-game losing streak. Washington will play the Houston Astros next tomorrow at 8:10. Switching to the Orioles, they also came away with a win yesterday, routing the Kansas City Royals 11-3. There are multiple highlights from the game, including this homer hit by shortstop Gunnar Henderson in the 7th inning. Baltimore extends their winning streak to 4 with this victory, and they will match up next against the Toronto Blue Jays tomorrow at 7:05. And lastly, the Washington Mystics took the court again against the Seattle Storm yesterday and will win 71-65. The Mystics started the game off well as they led after the first quarter. Washington would do a good job of maintaining the lead as they were even up by 25 at one point. The Mystics have been playing very well recently, winning 4 out of their last 5 games. Their next game will be against the Indiana Fever tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And that is your Monday Sports Page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. And now for your community calendar, the county's Department of Family Services is hosting the 4th annual Father's Day Pledge event. All fathers, uncles, young men and women, businesses, and community organizations will join together to take a stand against domestic violence. The event will take place tomorrow night from 6 until 7:30 at the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 112. Admission is free, and you can register on Eventbrite by looking up the county's Department of Family Services. And that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Malone. We leave you tonight with a poem by Prince George's Poet Laureate Dr. Khadija Ali Coleman. It's entitled An Activist Poem.
May we continue to breathe fire, siphon ether from the molecular until our cells live beyond the cellular and our energy is times infinity. May we know not the temptation to quit, never halting our